both the migrant crisis and her own handling of sensitive Home Office documents. She said mistakes had been made, but that she wouldn't apologise for things she hadn't done.
And addressing the Manston crisis, the Home Secretary said she wasn't to blame, claiming she had never blocked the use of hotels to ease pressure on the processing centre there.
She also described the influx of migrants as an invasion.
The British people deserve to know which party is serious about stopping the invasion on our southern coast and which party is not.
Well, joining us now for more is political commentator Peter Spencer. Very good morning to you, Peter. How do you think she fared in the Commons yesterday? Called up for questioning not over one issue, but two.
She certainly came out fighting, and she almost certainly has bought herself a certain amount of time. But at the same time, she's also worried quite a few people within the upper echelons of the Conservative Party. Of course, the Daily Mail lapped up her suggestion that this is an invasion of migrants. Heaven's sake, it's not as if these guys are actually trying to storm the ramparts. Many of them are escaping from war zones, and others, even if they're economic migrants, what they want to do is to better themselves by working hard when they get here. And the suggestion is, as I say, from a fair few voices within the Conservative Party, as well as her critics elsewhere, that she's actually pandering to far-right extremists. However, it did act as rather a handy smokescreen from her point of view to deflect from any perceived failings in her part. Now, what has happened, of course, is it's been unusually warm over the last few weeks, and an unusually large number of migrants have managed to make the perilous crossing across the channel. As a consequence, this centre in Kent, which is supposed to house up to 1,600 people, has been getting on for 3 times that number. So there's been a spread of disease, and there's been an awful lot of grief within the place, and it's not to be wondered at. The suggestion is that Suella Braverman has not tried hard enough to ensure that they're processed quickly, or that there's somewhere else for them to go. And that's a suggestion that's come from the Chief Inspector of Prisons, and it was very, very powerfully reinforced by a number of people within the House of Commons yesterday. However, as I say, she came out back fighting, and that has bought her at least a certain amount of time. But a place in the Home Office remains relatively perilous.
Was she pandering to the far right with that use of the word invasion, Peter, or was she simply reflecting the language that a significant number of people do use when talking about this crisis on the South Coast?
Well, I mean, I would say, and so, as I say, would many within the Conservative Party, as well as the critics elsewhere, that she was indeed pandering to the far right. Of course, she is fighting on more than one front. There are the questions that remain over her own apparently rather lax approach to cybersecurity, hence the fact that she had to resign once before getting reappointed. And it's worth taking a look at why it is that she is the Home Secretary at all. Remember that Rishi Sunak has a different perspective on migration from her. As far as he's concerned, there are gaps in the British job market which need to be filled, and they need to be filled by migrants. So he would, rather than tightening up the rules, he would rather loosen them in certain areas. However, it is indicative of his own relatively tenuous grip on power, the fact that he employed her at all. Remember that this was all about him being, up to a point, in hock to the right wing of the Tory party. And for so many years, it was a broad church and a very successful party, but more recently, as we've witnessed over the last few months, it's become a confederation, a loose confederation of warring tribes.